Racked content. Sure. Blizzard has announced improvements to the cooldown manager. Oh, it begins. It begins. It begins. It's happening. Here we go. And external and debuff tracking. Here it comes. It's beginning. Aha. Please go away. Hunter's nerfed again. Yeah, we're going to play some more next week. Obviously, a new patch coming. So that music's not loud. Yeah, it's loud in my headphones, but yeah, it's low here. Since the release of the Cooldown Manager, excuse me, we've been listening to your feedback. Lies! And are excited to share several planned improvements. They will enhance the functionality, customization, and ease of use. We aim to consistently iterate and improve. Sure. One of the strongest pieces of feedback we've received on the Cooldown Manager was that players want to customize their bars and frames to show only specific abilities or reorder them based on their preference. Well, yeah, of course. We're excited to share that that is now coming. Cool. Yeah, if you want to beat add-ons, you're going to have to build this shit in, baby. We're adding a lot more class and specialization abilities, so I assume it's just a choice menu. Yes. Essential. Oh, what have they decided is essential? And then you can choose what's not displayed. Okay. Tracked buffs, so you got your diseases, sudden doom procs, tracked bars. Okay. Can you choose whether it's going to be a bar form or an icon form? Can you do that? Rows, icon direction, icon size, the padding, opacity, visibility. Advanced, so it's in advanced settings. Okay. Okay. How do I close this screenshot? Ah, so it's a separate window. That's fine. It's drag and drop. Cool. Okay. Reorder can be done inside its own group. Okay, so it's very weak order-ish. Very nice. Reorder can be done inside its own group essential. I'll give this a try. Like I said, I've got a... I'm not redoing my entire fucking weak aura setup anymore. That's not happening. My frames are nice, but we'll leave it there. The drop-down menu shows all unlearned cooldowns and buffs, plus the HUD will update the UI if the player learns that talent. Cool. So we've got a search bar to find certain spells. Good. I mean, it is quite nice. You can see they're going with what has become the sort of de facto way of doing these things. And you can have them vertical if you want to. Looks good to me. AMS, Mind Freeze, Fortune. I mean, surely every spell's on here, and you just let people pick and choose. Some people track all sorts of weird shit. Tracking. You can put it in bar form. So this will show the actual buff duration. It's nice that Death and Decay's on there. I find a lot of DKs struggle with... they have to visually look if their D&D is expired on the floor. I assume that's what it is and not the D&D cooldown. That's the duration. I would expect that's what that is. Tracked bars. Yeah. I mean, that's Unholy Might, so... that should be buff duration. Death and Decay is the circle you put on the floor that does damage. That's what it is. It also has other interactions, but for general purposes, that's what it'll mean for the actualies out there. Another piece of feedback we received is that players want the ability to track their damage over time dot effects. No way. Weird. I wonder, and I have to expect that the Blizzard one will work with vehicle debuffs made by the player. If it doesn't, it should. So if you apply a dot from something other than your character, it should be shown. I would expect the Blizzard one should do that. And if it doesn't do that, it should do that. We plan to let players opt into tracking their offensive dots in either a new frame or as part of an existing cooldown manager. Okay. Debuffs will have different states, indicating whether they are applied, missing, good, about to expire, or in the pandemic window. Nice. That's really good. That's really fucking good. Pandemic window as standard is a really good choice. Good job. Reapplying early or reapplying late is a huge loss of damage. That's really, really nice. I really like that. That's good. Debuffs will have different states indicating the reply by seeing all the pandemic thing. Okay. So it'll have the red outline. Can you customize it? I actually look forward to this as a potential Race to World First caster, as being able to have standardization when add-ons are eventually changed. Although I don't suspect they're going to remove, and I don't know if they've made comment on this recently, I don't suspect they're going to remove personal UI choices of how you display your own spells and debuffs. Because that's a personal choice that's not affecting gameplay in any way. So I can't see them actually changing that stuff. They want to change, obviously, a lot of stuff, but your personal representation of your own spells and debuffs is not some sort of angle that could be used for circumventing mechanics. Let's put it that way. But I do like this. This is nice. Off cooldown and the target has this dot. Okay. It's on cool, so you can't reapply it and the target has this dot. So I assume for something like Devouring Plague, this will be grey unless you can do a Devouring Plague, which is quite nice. Is Pandemic still 25%? I believe so. They made it very flexible. Because they've gone out of their way to try and make people not be shits. Is the best way I can describe it. So they've made it like pretty flexible. Text says less than 30%. There you go. Less than 30%. Yeah, they really are trying to make it so players aren't fucking up on basic stuff. On cooldown and its target doesn't have this dot. Oh, the yellow is the effect. Ah, so if it has the yellow on it, it means the target has this dot. Okay. Big defensive tracking. Whoa. For some players, mostly tanks, we have heard that they want the ability to see if another player has used external abilities or buffs with a duration on them, such as pain suppression or life cocoon. To support this, we're adding an additional optional frame that could track the use of the external enhancements when they're active on your character. Okay. But it will not track the other player's cooldown, because they specifically said, at least in M+, they don't want that to be a thing. So it will track whether somebody's put Ironbark or Cocoon or Guardian on you, etc., etc. I assume it works for Sacrifice and so on and so forth. Not useless for tanks. Not useless. You do want this information, because you don't want... You know, you have the two obvious scenarios is two people put major cooldowns on you at the same time. Please don't do that. And you don't want to, like, massively overlap your cooldowns unless it's a specific scenario where you want that to happen. The cocoon is mentioned. Actually, this is a life cocoon, not a goon cocoon, unfortunately. Sound alerts. Oh, fuck off, man. To alert players better when an ability or buff becomes available or is active, we're adding the ability to configure sound notifications on abilities on a case-by-case basis. If you'd like an audio note... I mean, if people want it, people can have it. It fucking bugs the shit out of me. But, like, if people want it, people can have it. In addition to the above, we're also looking at some quality of life updates and its associated frames, and we're exploring other potential updates, such as resizing and repositioning elements of the cooldown manager with greater flexibility. Yeah, just put it wherever you want. Saving different cooldown manager config profiles that can be swapped between different types of content. Huh. I mean, sure. Why would you want a different UI depending on the content you're in? I've never encountered that before.
I mean, I will say...
Hang on, Chris has thoughts. Here comes the law.
if I'm doing casual shit, I might not care about it. To have it on the screen. You know
Why? What? You wouldn't want to know if you have cooldowns available?
Well, because I might literally not be... I might... Like, if I'm doing world quests, I might literally just be tapping the one button.
So why would your UI matter?
But I might want it when I then go into Mythic Plus or Raid.
You would go out of your way to create a separate UI because you're spamming one button in content you're not interested in.
I'd probably just have it turned off outside of Raid.
I cannot understand why.
Because it's just visual clutter.
You're pressing one button. If you're asked about visual clutter at that point, you might as well suck your own dick. That is insanity. I am now playing the game with one button while watching Netflix, and I'm bothered about visual clutter of my spells.
If I'm doing my story, I don't want anything to distract
That is
me.
nonsense. You should be taken out back and shot for that decision. That is crazy, but it's there.
But you can imagine wanting different priorities. Okay, we'll use a more reasonable option.
Sure.
Is that the prioritization of what you want visually on the screen might be different in Mythic Plus than it might be in Raid, I suppose you might say.
Nope.
It could be.
Nope.
It could be.
Nope. There is zero circumstances of that being a thing.
Yeah, just chat agree. I feel like I'm right.
There is zero. PvP and Raid? Nope. You need the same
PvP,
cooldowns.
Yeah, PvP would be a good example.
The only thing I could think of in PvP, even remotely, is that you want defensives to be a bit larger in PvP. Maybe.
Yeah, like considerably. Like your stuns and all that stuff. Like you're probably just not...
But also, have a better UI. If you have your Raid utility...
Not everything needs to be everything at all times. You can be a little
This
more
is
choosy.
the most going out of your way to solve a non-issue I've heard in months.
Chat agrees with me.
Because they're also, like, upset on behalf of something that doesn't exist. Like, that is nonsense.
The option is there, so what does it matter?
And I'm not saying that. I'm just confused why anybody would do this.
I mean, I've given you some situations.
And they're all wrong.
No?
You've given me 20 incorrect situations.
I would absolutely have a different UI for PvP. Having now done the 1800 thing.
Then your UI is shit.
No, because I don't want to see certain things when I'm...
What don't you want to see when you're PvPing?
Like, there are certain abilities like stuns and stuff that I'm just not... Unless I'm using it for a specific thing, I might not even want it on the UI.
But you can stun in raids.
I mean,
it's important.
It's pretty situational.
So what, you got to change UI on a boss-by-boss, trash-by-trash basis now?
You know what, yeah.
What a fucking circus. What a fucking circus you guys are describing. Like, oh, hang on, it's the trash pull between Fractilius and fucking Nexus King. I need to change my UI, guys. Give me a second.
Yeah,
Blizzard, please can you allow me to set it so that if I'm in this geometry of the game, my UI changes, please?
If I'm in PvP, I want like a giant box that has disarm on it, right? And I don't want it to appear at any other time.
Oh my fucking god, this is such bullshit.
And then a big giant box with my intervenes on it, because I don't really care about that during PvE, because I don't help anyone.
Exactly. So you want a different UI because you're useless. And I want to double down on my uselessness.
Look, if I'm in a raid, I'm doing damage, and that's all I care about.
Oh my god. Right. Fine. Okay. In this cunt player scenario, you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of just having a good UI that you're used to and you know where to look at all times, where these things... He's right, though. Only if you're shit. Honestly. Only if you're shit. Like, why would you not want your defensives in Raid or your utility in Raid? That is fucking baffling in all ways. And you're aware of PvP talent setups and utility spells that you don't even have in Raid because you don't use them, right? You might want them to be a different size. Sure, because the only reason that happens is because you have them so useless in your normal UI that you can't see them effectively. So your UI is bad, right? If my disarm button or spell reflect or whatever isn't the size of the screen, then I don't press it. You either have it available or it's on cooldown. What more information do you need?
What about?
Oh my god, sure. What about?
Like trinket frames.
Welcome to the circus.
So that's going to be like a part of my cooldowns in PvE, right?
Right.
I'm going to press that with all my other cooldowns, probably.
Right.
In PvP, trinkets are much more situational. So
right.
I might need a separate frame for that to show when my PvP trinket's off cooldown. Yeah.
You have that information on your normal UI.
But it's different.
Are you staring at these buttons, Chris? Have you learnt nothing
Not on
from
the
anything
button.
I've taught you?
No.
It
Right?
takes less than a
I'm saying the
millisecond to check
priorities are
whether
different, sir. The priorities are different. That's
You
what I'm
guys are so stretching to try and make this make sense. Is my trinket on cooldown or not? That's it! What else are you
in
getting?
PvE, I just kind of want a little one. Just like a little thing with the rest of my cooldowns. You
To
know?
check if it's on cooldown?
Yeah.
Like you would do in PvP?
PvP, I kind of want it a bit more prominent, yeah.
You guys are just making shit up at this point to try and justify this nonsense decision. Just have a better UI. Fuck me. Fuck me. I have never heard such utter bullshit in my entire fucking life. Oh yeah, if it's I can't read it if it's in my normal Rage UI. I need it like to be enormous in PvP, otherwise I'll forget. Right? I'm not against it. Have it. I just can't think of a use for it. What if that's what I'm saying. Have it. Have all the options in the world. I don't really care. You could do it. I just don't know why it's a priority. Because I can't think of any reason you would really want this unless your UI is shit. Which it sounds like a lot of you have shit UIs because apparently... Wait a minute. How many of you have a UI that you've downloaded or installed that is just not useful to you, and therefore you have to change it in different scenarios because the UI you're generally using just isn't that useful? Like, is that what's going on here? Is like, I have this like PvE downloaded UI and I've gone into a different piece of content and now it's no longer very functional for me. Is that what's fucking happening here? Because if that's what's happening, fix it! For fuck's sake. Fix it! Why are you installing this shit if it doesn't make sense to you? And if it's not useful for you in all content? Your UI is to play your character in all scenarios. That's what it's for. The difference can come between DPS, healing, and tank. That makes sense. But fix your fucking UIs. Fucking clowns. Jesus Christ. You have to update it. Oh my god. I'm so annoyed now. If I could specialize it, I will. I want to see your guys. I fucking guarantee none of you do this. And you, oh, well, some of you will do it out of spite at this point. Like, I can see that. Like, I can see Chris is coming to me when this is out saying, look at my new UI, Mike. Right? I need paint. All right. So, this is Chris's PvE UI. Yeah? Where he's got all his, like, DPS cooldowns here. And apparently, from what I'm understanding, all useful forms of utility go here, right? This is Chris's fucking awesome PvE UI. However, he switches to his PvP UI, which is like this big. With like fucking trinket here, yeah? And fucking disarm is like there.
He is right, chat, you all know it, lol.
Here's my cool PvP UI by Chris. That's what we're looking at. Larger? Yeah, and of course I've got Gladius installed now, but because it's PvP, it takes up this amount of the fucking screen. Can you download this? No, you have to be a subscriber. Go to preachui.com. I'm currently sponsoring the next Race to World First. Where's the fire exit? I have no problem. Make your own bullshit. I don't fucking care. You make whatever the fuck you want. As we look forward to introducing these improvements, we remain committed to refining and expanding it. You can check out the cooldown manager at its current box in the game menu. Alright. PreachUI.com is not valid. I have your UI, it still works. My UI works fine for all scenarios. Because all the information you need to play your character is right there. What's this? Oh, is there more going on? Oh my god. What's this? PC Gamer interviewed Morgan Day, never heard of him, about the single button assistant. Let me guess, it is ludicrously popular. Guys, do you think I should buy a Formula Instinct F1 Edition playseat? There's an ad here, here,
Like
and
you are
here.
just a noob if you aren't optimizing for each boss fight and each of the different content.
Yeah, that's called respecking. That's called respecking. That's what that is. Didn't Wildgate go back to Formula? Is it still out? Genuinely, because this was the game we did the sponsored playthrough of this. It was kind of fun. But they're still advertising it? Oh, that's Splitgate. Gotcha. I'm got confused. A full patch test shows that the single button assistant may fundamentally alter how many gamers play WoW. What a surprise. To the point where they want custom UIs that don't even show their spells anymore, apparently. Because they have the one button. The rotation assist, a new single button way to play WoW, is literally game changing. Introduced in the most recent patch, it has two flavors. Assisted highlight, which highlights the toolbar button, and the single button assistant. We have received overwhelmingly positive feedback regarding this feature, said Morgan Day. We're hearing from all types of players that they are finding it valuable to them, especially the single button assistant. For some players, they've shared the game is more enjoyable to them using the assistant because it's allowing them to focus on what's in front of them instead of what's next in their rotation. And after a full patch of gameplay and a small mountain of hours spent testing, I'm ready to review the impact of this new feature on players and WoW in general. I mean, nobody should be shocked by this. Nobody. I love that they still use that one photograph of Ian from 2010. Like, Ian has a beard now and shit. My credentials. I'm a cutting-edge raider with best performance passes in raid of 98% in Mythic and 99% in Heroic. I am in the top 2% of Mythic plus Dungeon players worldwide by score. I've been playing and professionally reporting on WoW since the second push alpha test of the OG game. Ooh. Who are you? Do I know you? Heather Newman. A girl? Pfft, bullshit. Girls don't game. That's nonsense. Obviously, a system that highlights the next button in a player should press needs... Obviously, a system that highlights the next button a player should press needs to be good at the game to be effective. And for rotation assist, your mileage will definitely vary. Yes, as we found out very quickly. Probably playing a priest. Oh my god. Probably a priest. It is known. It is known. Wowhead's guide writers did a nice job going over the sims on this, but you'll basically lose between 2 and 23% of your perfectly executed damage for damage classes and up to 60% as tanks. Oof. And almost no one was perfect to begin with, because tank... Has anybody tried the one button thing with healing? It does work, right? It's quite... Yeah, it does depend on class. It does not? No, it doesn't work. Okay. I was surprised. So healers, who cares about healers? That's right. That's right. I still remember Furbo going on healer strike during one of our raid tiers. Started to try and get a rotation going. Like, he was marching around all the people. Marching and trying to get a healer revolution started. As expected, we all ignored their cries. Shut the fuck up and keep me alive. Tank damage equates to threat, and rotation assist doesn't handle healing well at all. The feature is not recommended for use by tank or healing classes. I did about 20% worse using assisted highlight than my own gameplay on most classes. Okay, sure. This is like how effective it is. So what did Morgan say? Where's Morgan? Okay, there's Morgan. That said, how well the very best players do with the one-button system may not translate to those players who actually use it most. Morgan said developers have been watching real-world results from players and are happy. We've been monitoring data on the performance of the rotation and feel it's currently meeting our intentions for the feature. Our intent is to keep the assistant up to date when we do significant work on a specialization, so Sajura is suggesting the right spells and abilities. The proof will be in the pudding there, Morgan. I'm already seeing casual guilds I'm affiliated with starting to nudge their players to use the assistant. Has this happened to anybody? Maybe not. I don't think a lot of my audience has been playing current patch. Some of you have. At least active rating. Is anybody having somebody give the... I mean, we'll wait for the drama stories to start coming in, right? No. I did say this a while ago. If you are so fucking bad at WoW that your raid leader is like, maybe you should just use the one button thing, that's a sad day. Just say, we've had a whip round. We've taken a poll democratically. And,
You know what? I just had a thought.
hang on, Chris has got a thought now. What, is it as if you go to the bathroom you want the UI to change?
I mean, that's good too. But I would wonder if, until they disable the combat log tracking stuff, because that would change it, whether people will start having add-ons that tell you if someone in your raid's using one button. Because they can see what the
I would
GCD is.
maybe that also let's Google it. Mod to check WoW mod to check if people are using.
You might have to check it on logs, but I wonder if they can see when you're pressing it on the GCD and they know it's this exact number below.
I would imagine. Why does it matter? Because people in World of Warcraft, this might be a bit of a surprise, are vindictive fucking cunts. And find any fucking way. They will find any fucking way to shit on somebody. As much as humanly possible. I'm not sure what game we're in right now. Hold on. There's some more stuff. Okay, there's a thread on the Blizzard forums.
Yeah, I knew it would be.
Yeah. Okay, it's just kind of guesswork. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to tell because I assume there's mods that can check if you're using, like, is your spell GCD at a certain point? You could definitely, an add-on could definitely tell based on when your buttons are activating and what you're pressing if it's following the one button process. So, yeah. I assume it could be checked. Either way, we don't want that. What was he saying? I am seeing casual guilds I'm affiliated with starting to nudge their players to use the one button assist, whether they want to or not. If they don't demonstrate above average gameplay. Players have also confided with me they're using it instead of learning their class because it plays better than they could hope to in raids and keys. Got a dry throat. A number of players who have disabilities just want to experience game content without stressing about learning their class, or are about to try a new specialization or new encounters are loving it. Players all content with playing all content with friends, not getting yelled at in pickup groups, being able to focus on boss mechanics is fantastic. Yep, I agree. I have arthritis in my hands, and it's been a total game changer. I love it. At the highest levels, factors besides what do I press next play much larger roles in your overall performance. So top gameplay rankings are safe. A freak who distributes bathwater to his viewers, Tettles, did his #1 DPS rotation assist on a class he knew how to play very well. Putting a new player on a balanced druid and plopping them in a 17 Mythic Plus dungeon with single button assist would not get the same results. The biggest problem with single button assistant is that it's mind numbing. It's not a short term. I don't think people care. Outside of top players, I don't think people care if it's mind numbing. People play Path of Exile, so as long as they can move from shit, they're alright. It's a long-term worry as players discover that for them, the best way to play the game could be done by a drinking bird, boring them to tears and cause them to stop playing. Some have shared it to... it's not really the same. No, I don't think so, because you get... I'm memeing, okay? We don't need actualies on this. I will say this has historical precedence. Is the TBC Destruction Warlock. It was so boring that even though it was by far and away the #1 DPS in the game, the top players started re-rolling away from it. However, what actually happened is worse players flooded to play it because it allowed them to be top DPS without having to be good. So you had that counter is players who were very engaged with playing their character and enjoyed having fun with it, they stopped playing and swapped away. But it did allow a huge... I mean, we saw the same thing actually happen with Discipline Priest in Wrath of the Lich King, is once it became the job of your entire best performance was to put shield continuously on people and then to cycle round and round the game for the frames, putting shields on people. People flooded to Disc Priest in droves. Yeah. Some have shared it can be a bit fatiguing to continuously press a single button for play when using the single button rotation, which is great feedback, they said. We're looking into options for improving usability on this front, but don't have anything. Ooh. I mean, surely you're putting it on mouse wheel, right? That's how I would use it. I would put it on mouse wheel. Yeah, mouse wheel is so much easier to play. This is tech. The mouse wheel tech was what the hunters introduced in TBC when they were almost one button. Mainly because they were using a macro, but it was still the same process. Is they just bound everything to mouse wheel to make things much easier on their hands throughout the night. Because you do get like strain tapping one button over and over and over again for hours and hours and hours. So they swapped it to mouse wheel. How does it compare? I'm looking for quotes from Morgan. We do. Day said that no new... What kind of interview is this? It's like 3 quotes from Morgan in this. Is it like a 10-second phone call? What is this? Day said that no new tweaks to the feature are coming in the next patch, other than updated rotations for the changing specs. The real test will be when Hakili and other combat add-ons are removed, leaving players to cope with rotation assist or to finally learn their classes. A little bit of an elitist bias going on there, Heather. A little bit of an elitist bias going on there. Does anybody here suspect that when Hakili goes away that they're going to start suddenly learning their classes? Nope. Nope. Hakili, I was shocked. I'd never used Hakili, but when I did a quick test on the one button thing. I installed it to compare it. That thing is stupidly good. Stupidly good. I was utterly fucking amazed at how good Hakili is. It's so fucking good. It's bizarre. It's really good. Never used add-ons. Can't wait for them to all to go. I mean, they're not all going. You know that, right? And there's nothing wrong with UI add-ons in any respect whatsoever. I've had multiple rank 1 mythic passes with Kelly. Really, Alcors? I mean, yeah, you should do, because it basically plays you optimally. The one button rotation must have changed the blind add-on in a major way. That's what I said, Baduveld. After doing the test of playing WoW completely blind, I would have loved to have had the one button rotation, because that was the only issue I really ran into, is I didn't know what spells were on my bars or where they were. I didn't know what I'd unlocked. I didn't know any of that kind of stuff. So having a one-button rotation as certainly a visually impaired person, that would be GG's. That would be GG's. Hakili is shockingly good. Like, I could tell immediately. I used it for like 30 seconds, and I was like, this is optimal. This is super optimal. It's crazy. Rotation assist add-on. Yeah, it's literally... it's very similar to WoW's assisted highlight button, but it's optimized to fuck. I don't know who's working on that add-on to keep it completely optimal. I don't know. I'm sure there's some specs which are less good than others, or maybe there isn't. I don't know. But I tried it on my DK, and I was like, this is literally optimal based on every talent and things I have. It uses just the sim data. Yeah, it's crazy. Use on your arcade mage. Generally increase my DPS by like 30%. Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking strange, man. It feels weird. You do end up... I mean, the only downside really is I think you end up focused on it almost entirely. So maybe in a much more tricky and adaptive fight, that's more difficult. But if you're used to it and you do start to learn that muscle memory of what's going on, that's the only issue I've ever had with rotation add-ons, is I think it causes you to bar stare. Because you're just constantly letting something tell you what you should press over and over again, instead of having a feel for it. That's why it makes more sense to just track major cooldowns that have a duration and just to see whether they're available or not like this. and know the rest of your buttons. Not that different from weak aura staying. That's because some people, I mean, UIs are obviously variable. But some people just, like, rebuild the entire game in weak auras. That makes no sense to me. The whole point of the UI I made is, like, you should only need to give a shit about things that have a cooldown. Because everything else is available all the time. And you should get used to how you play. But you just need to know, you know, have I got my major DPS cooldowns? A-bomb's limb, rip. Other